So, Netivot Shalom. So we do Parashat Vaigash, and the topic is Od Avichai, right? So Yosef is the meeting with the brother this week's parsha, such an intense meeting, and Judah is approaching him, right? There was so many things to learn what actually was happening over there. And how come that Yosef was willing to risk his life? Because Judah was the strongest from the brothers, and still he was willing to risk his life and to stay along with him. Judah was like about to beat him, kill him, or whatever. There was like such kind of an interesting thing. Maybe I will say it after. So, and then in a certain point, Yosef couldn't hold it anymore, right? And he revealed himself, and then he said the famous sentence, Aod Avicha, is my father still alive? Right? V'yomer Yosef elecha, v'ani Yosef, I am Yosef, Aod Avicha. Said, we need to explain. Because at the beginning, when the brother came to Yosef, right, he asked them, how is your old father doing? That you said about him. He is still alive? Right? And they replied, yeah, he's still alive. So now why he asked them again, Aod Avichai? And also we need to explain why he said Avi. If he is Yosef and he just revealed, you need to say our father, not my father. Is my father still alive? Our father is still alive, right? We can say, and prior to that, what it says in Yaakov, right? So when the brothers were, how you said that in the legal terminology, they were interfering, they were playing with the evidence, right? They took his garment and they soaked it with the blood and they showed the father, right? And he said, yeah, an animal probably ate him.
Tampering with.
What?
Tampering with.
Tampering, thank you. So he said, "Mashenamar beYaakov ve'ma'en litnachem." So Yaakov refused to get comfort. Because it says, "Delechora הרי הצדיקים מקבלים רצון השם והנהגתו," right? That the tzaddikim actually they accept Hashem's will, and whatever Hashem is doing to them, right? How Hashem behave with the tzaddikim, they accept it. So how is it possible that Yaakov refused to get comfort, right? It's as if like he refused to accept Hashem's will. So the explanation, he says in the Yasod, that this is a fundamental thing, that our fathers, right, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they sanctified themselves until their body actually was doing Hashem's will, even without conscience, right, without their conscience. So they did Hashem's will, the body, right? And we learn many times in Avraham Avinu, when it says, Ve'ishlach Avraham et yado, that Avraham was taking actually his hand, right? He was forcing to take his hand because he thought that when Hashem told him to take Yitzchak aleu leola to slaughter his son, the hand knew that Hashem doesn't want him to slaughter his son. So Avraham was needed to force his hand because the hand knew Hashem's will. Now Hashem's will seems to be right, like as you said, that there is a rule. Hashem, this is how Hashem created the world, that after a year, the deceased will be forgotten. Not totally, but we will not mourn, right? That's why we have the Shiva, the Shloshim, and then a year. That's life, and this is how Hashem did it. So he said, and that's why Yaakov Avinu refused to get comfort, because his body understood that this is Hashem's will. That was Hashem's will, that Yaakov will not get comfort, and he will not accept with the fact that Yosef is gone. Why? וזאת מהטעם, וכל ישועתו של יוסף הייתה מכוח ההתקשרות ליעקב. So there was a bonding between Yaakov and Yosef, the spiritual one, and that's why Hashem didn't want him, because if Yaakov Avinu will accept that Yosef is gone, and he said, okay, he's no longer here in this world, the connection, the bonding between them will stop. Hashem didn't want it to stop, because that was actually the salvation of Yosef. Right? When he was in the middle of the thing with the wife of Potiphar, what happened? suddenly he saw his father's face. How come? Because he have still that connection, a telepathic connection. So in the time of ניסיון, שבתנס ניסיון, נראית לו דמות דיוקנו של אביו. That was from that strength, from that power, from that bonding, right, between Yaakov and Yosef. And if Yaakov was accepting, then Chas v'chalila, Yosef will be left alone. He will not be connected anymore. And then how can it be? Eventually, the king of Egypt won't. Because maybe he will not pass the Nisayon with the Potiphar wife, and then that's it. Everything will go down the drain. That was Hashem will. And that's why the body of Yaakov Avinu were not accepting that comfort and the fact that that Yosef is God. And he did Hashem will. And this is he bring here an analogy, a mashal. L'adam shenafal l'shol tachtio, that a person was falling into the depth. That if he still have a rope that is connected to somewhere solid, somewhere, right? Then he should just, use the rope and climb out. But if he has nothing, then that's it. He's gone. He's falling, and that's it. Same way, bringing from the Midrash Rabbah, again, another analogy that somebody was in the sea, and the captain handed him a rope, and he told him, hold on to this rope. As long as you have that rope, you have life. You're leaving the rope, you don't have any life, right? And that's the advice, that we should be connected, right? Whether if you're connected to Hashem, connected to the Torah, etc. And that was the strength for Yosef, that he was connected still to Yaakov. And this is what Yosef was telling the brother, right? I am Yosef. I'm still the same Yosef as I was before. I'm now the same Yosef, even after all the nisyonot, all the tests and everything. And even after I became the ruler of Egypt, right? And therefore he add, Od Avichai. This is my father, the one that is actually connected to me. The whole time we were connected. They didn't speak, but they had a spiritual connection. ההתקשרות של אבי, right, של אבי אליי, העודן החיה. So it's like, is my father still have reception? Can he connect to me? This is what he was actually telling them. The התקשרות של אבי, העודן החיה. The connection is still alive, which that bonding is full of vitality. And when it says Lashon Yachid, the plural, singular, then this is what he's talking about that essence. Haim Yaakov Chai, right? Because if Yaakov is alive, he already asked them. Haim Yaakov Chai, כבר שאלה מקודם, בתחילת ביאתם, when they came in the beginning, he already asked him if he's alive. But now he add, Aod Avi Chai, which means he's living with me, right? Chai imadi, Chai iti. And we should say, right, it was not a question, it was like a statement. And therefore, we didn't find that the brother actually replied to him. They didn't answer because it was not. He says, I am Yosef, my father is still alive, the connection is still alive. And that's because of that, I'm still Yosef. The one that I was before, I'm still the same after. And I'm the ruler of the entire land of Egypt because my father is living with my guts. Avichai bekirbi ואני מקושר אליו, and I'm connected to him. And this is what it says, right? ויבואו אל יעקב אביהם ויגידו לו. So now the brothers returning to Canaan, and they're going to inform Yaakov that Yosef is still alive, right? So there was another midrash about the daughter Serach bat Asher, that she was playing a song because they didn't want to kill him from the surprise, right? So he was singing some kind of a song about Yosef and he's still alive. And then he started to hear and said, whoops, what are you talking about? What are you singing about? He said, yes, Yosef is alive. So he blessed her with Arichut Yamim. So now, Vayefag Libo, right, his heart was like, refused to believe. וידברו אליו את כל דברי יוסף אשר דיבר אליהם והער את העגלות, right? So Yosef said, Rashi explained that actually he didn't send, but he said 10 donkey, 10, how you said female donkey in English?
I don't think there is.
So in Hebrew we have chamor is the donkey, the male, and aton is the female. So he sent 10 hamorim and 10 atonot. And then he saw the wagons and everything, right? He sent food. They were feasting for 3 days. They made a celebration before Yaakov Avinu left with the kings of Canaan and everything. And then they sent him, like a farewell party. ותחי רוח יעקב בהם. So now his spirit, right, the spirit of Yaakov is alive. And he said, it's a question. How come that he didn't believe them? What? וכי עלתה על דעתו ששבטי השם, right, יוציאו חס וחלילה דבר שקר מפיהם, right, that he thought that maybe they are lying to him, right, וגם הרי זה מילתא דוד האלגור, it's also, it's like, it's revealed already now it's revealed, right, because that's the fact that Yosef חי בוודאי מלהם, so he said no. The fact that there is alive and they inform him, yeah, okay, fine, he believed them. But when they said that he is the ruler of Egypt, which means not the land itself, but the klipa, the negative things of Egypt, that he couldn't believe. How is it possible after 22 years that he is away? How is it possible that he stays so strong in his level so he can control the shell, the klipa of Egypt? That was a very strong one, right? klipat arayot. ועל זה נאמר, וידברו אליו את כל דברי יוסף. So they were telling him everything that Yosef was speaking to them. And they told him everything that happened that Yosef told him. I'm Yosef, ועוד אבי חי. I'm Yosef, the same one, and I have still the connection with my father. And now, ואז תחי רוח יעקב. Now we could actually believe to that. וזה יש לומר גם מה שנאמר, and also we can add to that, וירא את העגלות, when he saw the wagon that Yosef sent, and Rashi explained it was like a hint about the last parsha that he was learning with his father, Yosef, right? Parashat Agla Rufa. That was the last Masechta, or parsha. And we need to explain, he says, according to what the Maral said in Masechet Sotah, when it says Parashat Agla Rufa, right? So we found a dead body, and we don't know who killed him. They're measuring the distance to the cities. The closest one, they take the elder one, and the elder come, and they chopping an egla, right, a female cow, from the neck, and then they said our hand didn't spill the blood, right, of the dead person. And our surgeon said, no, of course they didn't. They're not murderer, right, the elders, the rabbanim. But we didn't dismiss him. We didn't send him away with no escorting, with no protection. And then we learn, right, that the question, okay, if we send him without protection, without levaya, does it consider to be that we spilled his blood? And he explained, yes, because the individual doesn't have the same protection as somebody that is connected to the rabbin, to the plural, to the congregation. You have a special protection, and that's the levaya. That the melavim oto, the one that escort him or whatever, 4 amot, they are revealed to heaven and to the people that he is not alone, and he's connected to other Jews. So they should be careful with him, right? Not to do anything, because people will ask him, right? Will take revenge, maybe. So you have the strength of the majority of the congregation, and that's why you have the protection. And therefore, they said, we send him with no levaya, right? That really caused that we spill his blood. Now in Yaakov Avinu, right, when we found that והנה ביעקב מצינו שליווה את יוסף. So Yaakov was escorting Yosef, כמאן דכתוב, וישלחו מעמק חברון. And the Sforno explained that, yeah, he was in Canaan, in a certain place, and then he walked with Yosef when he sent him to find the brothers, then he walked with him until Emek Hebron, the valley of Hebron. And this is what it says, V'aret ha'agalot, that the hint about the Parashat Agala Rufa, this is what they learned. So he explained him that was the hint, that everything that passed on Yosef was from heaven, from the divine protection, right? And really he was not damaged or harmed. And he was kept until the end. The end was like revealing himself to the brothers. And this is what Yosef was hinting in the Agala Arufa, which is again a hint about escorting, protecting, and being with him. And because Yaakov Avinu was walking with him until the Emek Hebron, he was still connected in the Gashmiut at the beginning when he was walking him, and later on in the Ruchniut, in spiritualism. And that kept him and bring him to the happy end, right? That he became eventually the ruler of the king of Egypt. And according to that, we could say, when it says, right, La'ana v'yomer Israel el Yosef, right, so Yaakov Avinu is saying, right, to Yosef, Amuta apam acher oti et panecha ki otcha chai. Now I can die after see your face because you're still alive. You said it's like double. ראותי את פניך ואותך חי. I saw your face and you're still alive. Yeah, if I'm seeing your face, probably you're alive. And he says here, the explanation for that, according to the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that it says, Yaakov Avinu is telling him, I knew before that you were alive. I knew that. That's why I didn't get comfort. I know that you were alive. But what became out of you? What are you now? I don't know. But now I see you. I had a doubt, right? I had a doubt if you're really rolling on the klipa of Egypt. I know that you're alive. But now when I saw your face, your light, right? ראיתי את פניך מאירים, as it says, חוכמת אדם תאיר פניו, right? The wisdom of a person will light his face. Now I know that you are alive, right? Not alive like breathing and heart beating, but spiritually alive, right? The wicked people consider to be dead when they are alive, and the righteous person considered to be alive when they are dead, right? So of course, Kal Vachomer, if they consider to be alive when they're dead, then when they're alive, they are alive, right? So this is what Yaakov Avinu is saying. And this parasha, in all this parasha, the Torah, the Holy Torah is teaching us that for us to have the strength, to have the power to hold on in all this situation, right? Chas v'chalila, the lower situation, is that if we are connected to the congregation and we are not alone, then we will be able to hold on. And that's the rope. As long as we have the rope, we have life. Shkoyach. Thank you for listening.